So you sitting, you can be there, you can be here, whichever you're comfortable, you're there, okay. So we can just provide an overview as well of IMQS, maybe for taking nice pictures, just come here, it's always good, yeah. Then we'll send you some nice pictures in the podium, so you look very executive. So let's give him a hand as he comes to the podium.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and I'm quite impressed in terms of the CFO's representation of the work we've done. I think you've undersold the effort that has gone into this. It's been a long journey with the City of Umhlatuz. We've worked very hard over the years, and the winning factors that contributed to the success of our initiative with Umhlatuz was that the buy-in came from the top. There was a strategic intention from Umhlatuz to engage with systems, with technology, with business process reform in an integrated fashion. So when we initiated our project with the city, we had a standing bi-weekly MCO meeting where we would review the status of the project. We would deal with the issues, and in that MCO setting, there was a representation from finance, technical, corporate governance, ICT. The entire organization was covered. So what we discussed over the day yesterday was about integration and continuity. If you don't have that leadership and the direction from a strategic perspective, it becomes very difficult to drive organizational change. When we start to work on, I've got slides. I see. Thank you. Let me jump into one or two slides. When we're looking at key drivers to making a successful change in an organization, we need to start with an outside view, right? We focus on the customers. The customers for the municipality is our constituents. We look at the service delivery. What are we trying to do to improve? But by understanding the needs of our community, we then now need to look at how do we improve the department efficiency in delivering asset management processes, into revenue processes, etc., and then centralizing data and information. All our decisions need to be driven from a place of understanding, and to understand what is going on within our organization, we need to understand the assets, we need to understand where they are, what is the condition, what is the performance, how are we continuing to maintain and manage these assets to ensure that we're getting a long-term value from our assets. That process allows us to then start to innovate and design new business processes within the organization that will manage and improve the longevity of those assets. Again, we're repeating a common theme here about team and teamwork. We need one team as an organization. We need to pull from the front, but then we need to bring the entire organization together. We need that common understanding in terms of asset management best practices as an organization and ensure that everybody is contributing towards that. And then on top of that, we then are able to start looking at digitization and alignment. So just to give a very complicated picture, but a simple view to how the integrated approach for the city was taken on board, is we started with reviewing the policy and the procedures. We looked at how do we want to manage the infrastructure, what are the data models that we want, what is the level of detail that we want to capture our assets at. That level of detail allowed us to then create standardization. So whenever we build a new reservoir or a pump station, how do we componentize that asset into a very clearly defined data model and something that is repeatable? This then allowed us to integrate the financial systems and the technical system. So the city of Umhlatuz has managed to succeed in having a single register that deals with both the technical environment as well as the financial element. I think that is something that most municipalities are still struggling to pull together, and I think that's a big feat, and it deserves a round of applause. What that has allowed for the city is to actually start to delegate the responsibility back to the technical departments. So as CFO has mentioned, the drivers now of the register is the technical services. They roll up the information to finance from an auditing perspective and an asset accounting point of view. But the entire process in terms of management, the verification, the acceptance of the data is driven from that technical environment. This has then created a baseline for strategic planning. So on the back of this now consistent model data across the organization, we've prepared strategic AMPs and sector-based asset management plans for each of the different sectors. This then gives the long-term response to maintaining these assets and how we would continue to derive value from these assets. On the right-hand side, or left-hand side, we engaged with the city around the learnership program for asset management practices. Right, so engaging with all of the departments to ensure that everybody understands what asset management means, what asset management is, but also creating a baseline of understanding of where the maturity of asset management was in the organization and where we're trying to go in the long term. So by setting that up, we are able to then create targets for the organization to continue to improve the asset management practices over the years with measurable indexes to realize that. And as we implemented different systems and integrations, the maturity curve of the asset management maturity curve for the city continued to improve. And lastly, obviously the systems. The systems are just the enabler to the business processes in the organization. The systems allow for standardization, and we, as a service provider, tend to come into a solution with a mindset of solving the business problem first and then implementing the systems. If you implement systems and the organizational processes are not correct, you're getting no value out of those systems. So you need to start with all of the soft elements around business process transformation and reform within an organization so that we can start to derive value out of the systems and business processes that we change. Once we've done that, then we start to monitor, measure, and continue to improve by engaging with the organization. So this slide summarizes, from our perspective, our contributions to the initiative with City of Masheke. We're extremely proud to have an amazing client who's gone through 8 clean audits, right? And in that process, bearing in mind that they took on a full new asset register, where we re-established the asset register, we took on a new financial system, new business processes, and still maintained a clean audit. So once again, a round of applause to City of Masheke. Thank you.